Hello, sorry, got cut off. Okay, in the body, you are going to use Arabic numerals. And Arabic numerals, that just means 1, 2, 3, or 44 is an Arabic numeral, 45, 46. So it's important to recognize that. The components of the front matter are the title page, the letter of authorization, which is the letter that commissions the report or asks for the report. It's going to have a letter of transmittal, and this is the letter that presents the report to the people who commissioned it. It's going to have a table of contents. It's going to have a table of figures. It's going to have, it may have a list of tables, and it's going to have what can be called an executive summary, but is more often called an abstract. So those are the components of the front matter. So the title page counts as page 1, and again, it's in lowercase Roman numeral, but the number is not printed on the page. The title page has the title of the report, and it must be in 18-point font or larger. The title should also be in all capital letters, and it should contain, in addition to the title, it should say prepared by, and that would be you're the writer, and then it should say prepared for, that would be the name of the people or the company it's prepared for, and then the date report submitted, and that is the date you are submitting it. Let's see. The title page may also have the full address of the person preparing the report and the person who the report is being prepared for, but it doesn't have to. Typically when students turn in reports for this class, they don't use full addresses, so it's up to you though. The title page can have the company logo on it. So moving on, after the title page comes the letter of authorization. Now, if the report has been commissioned by someone within the company, and it's being written by someone within the company, and it's going to be read by people within the company, then technically this could be a memo of authorization rather than a letter of authorization. It's up to you. If you prefer to use a letter of authorization, even if it is internal, that is okay with me. But more importantly, the letter of authorization, again, is the official letter that asks for the report. The number can be printed on the page, it doesn't have to be, and the letter of authorization, which is in block format, has 3 parts, 3 paragraphs. The opening paragraph has background and reasons why the report is being commissioned. The second paragraph has a description of the commission, the date report should be, and the date the report should be submitted by. And then the third paragraph is a polite closing with contact info. So for the letter of authorization, obviously you're going to have to create an alias and a person who, perhaps the president of the company or the vice president or the CEO, COO, who has asked for this report, and then you're going to have to create a background as to why the report has been commissioned, but you can do it, you're creative. So that is the letter of authorization, and following the letter of authorization is the letter of transmittal. So the letter of transmittal, this is the letter which is again submitting the report to the person who commissioned it, and this consists of 3 parts and also 3 paragraphs. So the first paragraph explains what the report is about and announces the date when it is ready, also pointing out that the report is being submitted either on or before the date it was asked for. The second paragraph summarizes concisely but with detail the report's recommendations, and then the third paragraph thanks the people who commissioned the report and the people who helped to write it. And if there are any further steps that you would like to suggest, you suggest them. Now, there isn't a business report does not always have to have a letter of authorization, because it is possible that the writers of the report were not asked to write it, but that they created it because of some reason that they had. So you don't have to have a letter of authorization. I would include one, but you always need a letter of transmittal. Moving on, the next section is the table of contents. So you always have a table of contents unless the report is super, super short. And by super, super short, I mean like 4 or 5 pages. In that case, you would not have a table of contents, but you're going to have a table of contents. So the table of contents has a page number. It's typically in the footer. The page number is also in Roman numerals, like the rest of the front matter. And let's see, the table of contents should always be on its own page. So even if it's short, it gets its own page. Don't put anything else on that page. The page that the table of contents is on is not listed in the table of contents. And the table of contents listings can be double spaced or single spaced. It's up to you. Next would be the list of figures. And this is just what it sounds like. So this is where you're going to provide the page numbers for any photos, charts, any visual effects that are in the report. You're going to list them with a title that you've given to each photo, each graph, each table, and you're going to provide the page number. Moving on, the last section of the front matter is called the abstract. It's sometimes also called an executive summary, but in my professional experience, I have encountered it more times as an abstract than an executive summary. So the abstract is very important. As a general rule, the abstract should be about 1/10 the length of the report. So let's say your business report is 10 pages, the abstract should be 1 page. If your report is 20 pages, the abstract should be 2. The abstract presents a summary of the report. Now, what you want to do is create the most thorough and precise summary you can possibly create in the given space that you have. So you don't want a summary that's too general. Again, you want to try and include as much information as you can. You want to include brief background on the topic, as well as an abbreviated version of the data and the conclusions and recommendations. Now, just one quick little FYI, you can lift language from other parts of the report and repeat it in the abstract. You can literally take a sentence and copy it from another section of your report and word for word put it into the abstract. That's completely acceptable. Okay, so that's it for the front matter, the first section. Now, the second section of the report is the body. The body consists of these sections: the introduction, the analysis and data, the mode of analysis, the conclusion, and the recommendations. So the format we are following is known as the indirect approach. This is the most common format used in formal business reports, and this just means that we're putting the argument first and the conclusions and recommendations second. Okay. So the page numbering in this section is Arabic numerals. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, rather than the little Roman numerals. They all look the same. So in the introduction and background, you are going to introduce the subject, and you're also going to discuss how or why the report came to be written. That's the background. You're going to discuss the scope of the problem, and what that means is who is impacted by this, how many people are affected, If it's on a larger scale, how many countries are affected, how many states? So what is the scope of the problem? How big is it? What is the extent of it? Who is impacted and affected? The next section is the methodology. What are the steps that you have chosen to tackle this issue? Have you done research? Have you created a survey? Are you interviewing people? That's the methodology. The next section should address why you have been commissioned to write the report. What expertise or experience do you have? Why were you asked to write this? And lastly, you're going to address the significance of the report. Why does it matter? Why is it important that you've taken the time to do this? Why does it matter? Why should the reader care? Next section is the mode of analysis or methodology. And this part, did I say this already? This part describes how you did your research, and it will go into detail. So let's say you created surveys. You're not just going to say, I created surveys. You are going to provide detail as to how you came up with the questions. How did you distribute them? How did you get people to complete the surveys? Let's say if you did research, you're not just going to say that you did research, but you're going to specify what subjects or topics did you research. If you read any very significant studies or authors or books, you could mention them specifically. If you, as I said earlier, let's say you did interviews with people, however you tackled the problem, you're going to go into detail about it. The next section is the analysis of data. This is the longest section in your report. This is where you present the results of your research. This is where you include all tables, charts, graphs, photos, because all of that supports your conclusion. You are also going to divide the analysis of data into many sections and even subsections as you see fit. The next section is conclusions, plural. So the conclusions section offers a detailed description of what you have concluded as a result of your research. It is going to begin with a brief description of the background to provide context, and it's going to include your recommendations. Now, the last section of the body is the recommendations section. The recommendations is literally just a short version of the conclusions. So the same information that you put in conclusions, except here it's in bulleted, is a bulleted list. So it's much easier for the reader to digest. Okay, so we're almost done. Moving on to the back matter, the last part of the report. So the back matter consists of two parts: the appendices and the works cited. So what is appendices? Appendices, this would be any supporting information that is too detailed to put elsewhere in the report. So let's say you did a survey and maybe you have the raw data from the survey, or let's say the questions that, the actual survey and the questions, that type of thing. So any information that is too detailed to put elsewhere, let's see, make sure that each appendix, no matter how short it is, has its own page with a title that explains it. And the last section is the work cited. So the work cited should be formatted MLA style, and that's about it. So everything that I have gone over is in chapter 18 of the textbook. I use all of the same language that is used in the textbook, just so that in an attempt to make everyone's lives easier. So my advice to you would be that hopefully you have the book, and so as you are beginning your report, you can refer back to chapter 18. If you don't, you can definitely use this lecture, because everything that I just went over is straight from my notes, which are straight from the textbook. So I hope this was helpful to you. If you missed what I said at the beginning, please be sure that you check out the link to the sample topics. Okay, so thanks guys. I hope you're having a great week. Oh, I forgot one last thing. Please make sure you pick your topic carefully. Make sure it's a topic that you are genuinely interested in, because if you're interested in it, this report will be more enjoyable for you. So pick your topic very carefully. Make sure you're genuinely interested in it, and that's it. Bye.